So I would love to introduce myself right now. My name is Marla Mac. I am a genius coach and advanced human design specialist. I am a 1-3 emotional authority manifesting generator. So I am going to be speaking about the emotional authority. There's a lot of, I've noticed there's been a few misunderstandings as well, which can absolutely come up with any keynote in human design, let alone emotional authority. And there have been also a few people griping or quiping about the fact that they have to wait for clarity and people don't like to wait. And I will be happy to address that. Absolutely. A lot of this content and a lot of the information that I'm sharing can actually really be very valuable to you in your experience if you have emotional authority, and equally as valuable if you are somebody who does not have emotional authority and you have people with emotional authority around you, or you're looking to better understand people with emotional authority, or maybe you have loved ones in your house and you want to understand how to cope with and deal with waves and emotions and all that fun stuff. So without further ado, I am going to get started. So a quick overview of emotional authority. So what in the world is this emotional authority brouhaha, right? Emotional authority is for people who have their solar plexus defined. So the solar plexus is this particular center in the human design chart, often, but not always, depicted as a brown triangle or a triangle. But that is generally where it is placed in the chart. And so it could connect to the root, it can connect to the sacral, and it can connect to the will, and it can also connect to the throat. So those are the 4 possibilities. Now, the solar plexus is the most popular authority in terms of just sheer numbers. So approximately 50% of the population has emotional authority. So that means they have the solar plexus defined, they have an emotional wave, which I will talk about, and they are designed to wait for clarity, which is the theme of emotional authority. And what is an authority to even begin with? Authority means the way you are designed to make decisions, particularly big decisions. What do we qualify as a big decision? I think that's probably where I want to start, because there's a lot of frustration around this idea of waiting for clarity when it comes to emotional authority. So a big decision, I call it the big 5. This is my shortcut for knowing really sort of when to tune into my emotional solar plexus, or at least at the beginning. Now I have my own way of tuning in, which I'll talk about. But when you're really kind of on your journey to learn about emotional authority and just understand your authority in general, the best way to honor it is really with big decisions to begin with. Because otherwise, if you're trying to manage every decision, like, you don't need to wait for clarity on where to go for lunch. Okay. That's kind of where I'm going at. You don't need to wait for clarity in terms of, what appeals to you on the menu, right? Or what have you. The big decisions are the big 5 that I call. A decision that is going to involve your time, your energy, your money, a location decision, or a relationship decision. One or more of those 5 big ticket items, as I like to call it. So let me start again. An authority is really, really used and valuable for big decisions. So time, a decision that is going to involve your time, right? It's going to take time to fulfill that decision. If it's, let's say, a yes and you're moving forward with it. A decision maybe that involves your energy, right? Your physical stamina. You need to input work and energy, often coupled with time. Money, right? You have to put out money, you have to pay money, or it could be like income, but let's just say really pay money, right? If you're a business owner, right, you're trying to debate a $10,000 program, right? That's a big one. For depending on your financial situation, I should qualify that. So time, energy, money, a location decision. If you're going to move somewhere, maybe even travel somewhere, but moving would be a big one. And a relationship decision, right? Are you going to get into a relationship with somebody? Are you going to get out of a relationship with somebody? Are you going to redefine a relationship with somebody? Right? Those I qualify as the big five. Okay, so we talked about like what authority is really used for, like how is that best used? Now, once you become a little bit more familiar with your authority, you'll just dial in as to what seems to be, make sense or be logical for you to authority a particular decision. There are some other decisions that I use my emotional authority, not kind of deliberately, but I just kind of sit on them just because. And so the interesting thing about emotional authority is one of the most common authorities among different types. So what I mean is every type except for reflector has the opportunity of having emotional authority. Manifestors can have emotional authority with a connection directly to their throat, for example, or indirectly. Projectors can have emotional authority. Generators can have emotional authority, and manifesting generators can have emotional authority. So reflectors having 0 centers defined, right? All their centers are white. They do not have emotional authority. They are designed to wait in terms of decisions, but that's more lunar cycle based. So that is what's really interesting about emotional authority. And the fact that it's shared by approximately 50% of the population, 52, 53%, and the numbers kind of go up and down, is fantastic. Or to me, is kind of a fantastical thought that so much of the advice out there about sort of like making quick decisions, especially in business, right? All these business principles and business practices are actually counterproductive for people, with emotional authority. So that's why I love human design, is because you can stop making yourself wrong for things that aren't correct for you anyway, right? You were designed perfect for who you came here to be and what you came here to do. So you can stop beating yourself up if, maybe you try to make quick decisions and then you're backtracking a lot and that kind of thing, because that's not how you were designed. This world, especially these days, this whole idea of rushing and fast and instant gratification and all that has really created this sensation that emotional authority is a liability. And I will talk about that because somebody actually posted that about emotional authority being a liability. As a manifesting generator, I was a little like, when I first found out I had emotional authority. Now I really appreciate it. It took some time. It took practice of using it. And part of my journey was because I realized I may not always have all the information I need. I'm a 1-3, right? I work on data and information, but I may not always have the information in the moment. And when I spend time with my wave, not only do I have that opportunity to check in with my own self, how I feel at a certain given time, and sleeping on things helps a lot. Even just one night, what it does is it detaches me from the moment that a decision has presented itself, and I can get out of that excitement of there's this decision to contemplate. And that gives me, even just one day gives me clarity, but I can always tell now if it's like, oh, I'm not totally clear yet, but I can see where now I've been able to remove myself from that moment, whether it's the actual decision that's presented itself or somebody's energy is in that space too, right? Kind of amping me up. And that just makes it like, okay, great. Now I can take my time and just let this percolate. So Kathy was just mentioning, I saw a post in a different group that said emotional authority is exhausting. I want a refund. Yes. Well, hopefully after my live or lives, there will be a deeper appreciation for emotional authority, especially among all you emos out there. We emos need to stick together. So Brigitte, I've always blamed it on low blood sugar. Yes. Well, definitely being fed. Being fed helps with mood, fed, hydrated, all that fun stuff.